The girl was hunched over her desk, frantically scribbling down numbers. Even when the teacher tried to stop her, she refused to put her pen down. Just as she was finishing, the teacher abruptly interrupted her and showcased everyone's work before sealing it in a time capsule, which was buried by professionals during the school's founding ceremony. However, the girl wore a serious expression, as if she sensed something ominous. When the teacher turned around, he noticed the girl had suddenly vanished. The teacher rallied the entire school to search for her, but despite their efforts, they couldn't find her until nightfall. Eventually, the teacher arrived at the warehouse, opened the door, and was shocked to find the girl covered in blood, carving something into the wall with her finger. 50 years later, under the watchful eyes of students and faculty, the time capsule was unearthed. All the children received artworks from 50 years ago, except for Nick's son, who received a single sheet of numbers. He felt disappointed and was even teased by his friends. When Nick got home, he saw the paper but didn't pay much attention to it. He casually placed it on the table and poured himself a drink, setting the glass on top of the paper. When he picked it up, a water ring formed on the paper, which suddenly piqued his interest. He grabbed a pen and wrote the numbers down on a whiteboard, rearranging them several times until it hit him. This string of numbers corresponded to 9/11. The earlier numbers indicated the date, while the later number, 2996, matched the death toll. He was astonished. Following this pattern, he began to write again, and each group of numbers corresponded to significant disasters that occurred over the past 50 years. Given that the capsule had been buried underground for so long, it suggested that the girl had the ability to predict the future. As Nick continued to draw circles and patterns, he realized that the last three groups of numbers actually pointed to future events. Terrified, he dropped his glass, shattering it. The next morning, Nick rushed to work and shared his discovery with his colleagues, raising a major concern. There were still a few date groups on the paper that couldn't be verified since they hadn't occurred yet. According to recent records, a disaster was set to happen in 2 days, claiming 81 lives. While the previous numbers had matched past disasters, Nick wasn't entirely confident that something would happen in 2 days. Nonetheless, he wanted his colleagues to help analyze the situation and see if they could pinpoint the location to take precautionary measures. However, his colleagues thought Nick was losing his mind. They believed his concerns were baseless and suggested he take a break. Recognizing that it would be hard to convince them based solely on his speculation, Nick returned home to monitor the news closely. When the date on the paper arrived, he waited all day, but no major incidents were reported on the news. Coincidentally, it was also raining that day, and Nick decided to pick up his son from school. While stuck in traffic, he called a co-worker to apologize, thinking he might have overreacted. Just then, he happened to glance at the numbers on his car's GPS and realized they matched the unexplained numbers on the paper. He quickly pulled it out and compared them, soon discovering that the extra numbers were geographical coordinates. Unfortunately, the location predicted for today's disaster was nearby. As traffic was at a standstill, Nick wondered if an accident had indeed occurred. He quickly got out of the car, intending to ask a police officer for information. But as he began to speak, the officer's expression changed dramatically, and he turned to flee. Confused, Nick looked back and saw a woman whose face he would never forget.